So it's first going to go to Nikki.
So I have a total of 4 questions, 2 coming from me and 2 coming from our advisors. Okay. Maybe more, we'll see. I'll do one from our advisors first. Okay, so from Janessa, how do you plan to maintain communication and transparency so that advisors remain informed on all events and programming? As is stated in the Constitution, you meet with advisors at least once a month, and it's expanded to once a week. So how do you plan on doing so?
I definitely think I want to follow in the precedent that has already been set for me, making sure that that weekly meeting is happening, regardless of if we are in like a time crunch for what's going on, whether it be friendship games, Barrio, Veteranos, Soma. I understand that while we have here in the space is like valuable, but what is also valuable is letting our advisors understand what situation that we're in, and even inviting them more often to the spaces that we hold together so that they understand what kind of community we're cultivating, and so that we can openly have a conversation with membership about what exactly is going on, where we all feel, and like being able to gauge the temperature of what we need to get done between us.
Our advisors are here for a reason, right? They're here to advise us, mentor us, because they care for us. And as in the Constitution, we are supposed to meet with them, but it should be more than just having to meet with them. As executive director, you are leading the largest organization on campus, right? You can't do this alone. They are there for you. And utilizing them is of utmost importance. So keeping that line of communication very open, being humble enough to realize that you do need their help, right? That's what I believe is most important. Being fully open and transparent in terms of your struggles, the struggles of this organization, in order to fully grow to our fullest potential.
Another question. How do you handle constructive criticism and feedback, especially if it's coming from outsiders like advisors?
Yeah.
I think constructive criticism is really important because, like I said in my speech, I want to be the best leader I can be for this organization and for all you members. And if I were to be stubborn to reject that criticism, who am I as executive director to be a leader? What kind of leader, if you are you if you're not wanting to get better, right? And that's what I think, not just myself, but the rest of the executive board and our members should strive for, because we are growing together.
So it's how we expect it to.
How do you handle constructive criticism and feedback, especially coming from advisors?
Okay, so constructive criticism is something that I've definitely had to deal with a lot in PRPA, especially because we were in a very building year, and with building comes failure, and it's about failing forward and about hearing individuals on how I personally need to fail forward. So the way I take constructive criticism is I definitely need a second to absorb what they're saying, because sometimes constructive criticism isn't always given at the exact right moments. So I personally will take that moment to absorb what's being said and then construct what I want to say about that and how I feel like we can move forward with my faults and the faults of whatever has happened, and then go ahead and speak to our advisors about it, because I think it's actually more important that it come from our advisors, because peer-to-peer sometimes we want to be there to encourage each other, but our advisors kind of are able to take a step back and look as third-party facilitators for our organization and be all like, hey, objectively speaking, this needs to be changed, and this is how we can change it. And me being able to take that, absorb it, come back, and figuring out a way to move forward is what I want to be able to do.
Okay, so that's from the advisors. There's more, but I'll get to it later. From me, as president, I experienced massive changes and events that have impacted the org in tremendous ways. Examples to name a few: Uncle James leaving my junior year, a controversial photo sweeping the campus, executive board members leaving the university. How would you as ED react or proactively act in times of crisis? And that crisis could be up to your interpretation.
I think broadly looking at crisis with all like the different types of nuanced situations that you brought up is definitely something that needs to be dealt with almost immediately, because all of the crises that you stated were ones that had to be addressed in that moment, or else it was kind of like it would be to the detriment of this organization and to our executive board. So I think kind of understanding like myself and my leadership style, like wanting to quickly act, bring it up to my executive board, and then hearing feedback from that. So essentially being able to make an executive decision, bring up that executive decision that I want to make to my executive board, getting feedback, and then being able to carry out those actions, because we don't want to let crises like linger for too long.
I think in the event of any crises, as executive director, it's important that you maintain a sense of civility and strength in these in times of trial, because you are the backbone. You and your executive board are the backbone of this organization. If you are not able to properly handle situations like this, how will you expect your membership to react? And in making decisions during these times, I think it's important that you go to your advisors, you go to your executive board as resources to make this executive decision, because at the end of the day, your goal collectively is to make a decision for the betterment of the entire organization as a whole.
I'll take a break. I'll let other people ask questions.
Yes, Matt.
So this is something I wanted to ask like some of the other directors, but as executive director, I think it applies to y'all. You can see just with like the juniors and the seniors that we're smaller. How are you going to address upperclassmen apathy? How are you going to make it more engaging for us? Because like as school gets harder, people start losing interest in something.
Yeah, so obviously as you get older, like you said, people lose interest. People get more, they prioritize their school. Like obviously with like nursing majors, you can speak on this, other majors as well. But I think it is important for as an executive director and as a board, to help them realize that they are an essential part of our organization. They have been here. They have been in your shoes for all you underclassmen. They do serve a purpose for our organization. They can serve as mentors. They have struggled, right? And reminding them that they are important and we need them is an important thing that I think will bring them back. Giving them a sense of purpose and having them take ownership of that role will really bring them back.
I think definitely working in collaboration with both our historian and director of membership is something that I want to do to really fight against upperclassmen apathy. Specifically speaking, like these upperclassmen are the ones that understand the history of our organization, and they're here to be storytellers if we tap on them to do that. And I think it's just moving forward and tapping on them to be like, hey, would you like to talk about your experience with this organization? Because too many times in this organization, we find that executive board is the one that people should look to if they have questions, if they need an answer, if they need guidance. But there's so many other untapped individuals that are totally willing to help out, and I think those are the upperclassmen. So being able to invite them into spaces like, hey, would you like to tell your story of how your freshman year friendship games went, how Somator inspired you and what it got you involved with, and them being able to storytell out to the underclassmen so that they feel appreciated and affirmed with their actions in Kasamahan to keep them coming back.
What do you see as the biggest difference between president and executive director?
So I had the privilege of being a part of that conversation when that switch happened. And speaking personally about what happened, I saw a lot of the directors happen, and I was like, wow, like this doesn't make any sense. We don't even have a vice president to a president. And it just looks like 3 directors, 4 directors, 5 directors, an entire executive board full of directors and a president. And essentially, when we want leadership in this organization, we want to be equal. And how can we be equal if we're constantly looking at a title? And to not take away that title, but to reframe it so that they also become an equal is what matters. And so I think that the switch has definitely enforced the idea of our horizontal leadership and has definitely made a paradigm in where we're putting our efforts in this organization. Because as executive director, you are executively helping all the other directors because you yourself are a director and we all are serving the organization.
I think the biggest difference is in the title itself as executive director. You are serving as the go-to person so that other board members, you are basically, like I said in my speech, the guiding force in which other members of the board, other directors are able to execute their visions, their goals that they have for the school year, essentially. And like I said, you are a servant leader, right? You are guiding these people so that members will have an enriching experience. So I think that's the biggest thing, just being a support system, a guiding system, a system of experience where you can direct these people in the right direction.
So as a Kasama rep this year, which is mainly like probably a lower rung member of the board, there's been times where I felt an inability to explore or develop my position or my plans for the organization. And so what I'm going to ask y'all is how will you accommodate to the needs and goals of your e-board members and avoiding future e-board members from feeling this way?
So I was a Kasama rep my freshman year, and I was in this very exact same situation. As Kasama rep, I felt invaluable. I felt useless. Like I would sit there and be in executive board meetings, and I would just be confused because I didn't get it. I didn't understand. They were saying a bunch of things that weren't being explained to me. And I took the initiative to go up to like my Kasama rep, like advisor at that time, and was just like, hey, you know, like I'm not feeling utilized. Like I feel useless in this organization and in the place that I'm at right now. And she was able to provide an opportunity for all of the Kasama reps to really step up in their leadership, which happened to be the Kasama Gala last year. And I definitely want to follow in those footsteps and create opportunities for those individuals that are wanting to step up. Like I said in my platform and in my speech, I'm here to create opportunities, platforms, like spaces for individuals to step up in leadership. And I think all that needs is just a little bit communication from me and a little bit of me being more observant to their needs and evaluating where can I really put their uses and their talents to use so that they can really reach their greatest human potential. So to me, it's more observancy, more communication, and really evaluating what spots I can help them and uplift them.
Please, can you please repeat the question one more time?
So basically I was saying that as a Kasama rep, a low-rung member of the board, I've at times felt an inability to explore or develop my position or plans for the organization. So how will you accommodate to the needs and goals of your board members? Or how are you going to avoid future people from like feeling this way?
When I think of your question, I think immediately of the bigger picture of this organization, right? Executive board changes year after year. So your duty, your responsibility as a board member is to, like she said, be observant and foster these incoming leaders because you really are the next generation. If we're not fostering those opportunities, if we're not creating those platforms for you to express your leadership skills, express your talents, we're doing a disservice to the future of our organization that we all are so passionate about.
So I'm gonna extend the time to 10 more minutes, And this one will be a hard 10 minutes, so that's all we have left.
Okay, I got a question. Okay. So, as ED, you must recognize that executive board is a collaborative space, and there's a fine line between telling people what to do and giving them agency to do what they think is right. And so, in moments where you find your executive board or an executive board member going maybe not in the right direction, how will you navigate that space of helping them find an answer?
I think in times like that, it's important to utilize our advisors. I'm sorry, repeat the question one more time.
So, recognizing that executive board is a collaborative space, there's a fine line between telling people what to do and giving them agency to decide what's the right thing to do. How would you go about that situation, trying to help that executive member go in the right direction without putting your foot down or in a negative way?
I immediately think of my experience as the activities director, right? As activities director, it wasn't my job to tell these coaches what to do, tell these SPUF leaders what to do, tell my choreographers what to do. It was basically me telling them what my vision was, right? And bigger picture as ED, what is my vision for this organization, right? And utilizing our members, our board members, to share that vision and carry it out. As ED, I generally do not want to be the person to tell you what to do. My biggest thing is talking to you personally, telling me what your vision is, what your platforms are, what your goals are for this year, and helping you in any way I can to help you carry that out. And I think the past year has definitely been an experience for me where I have been able to learn that skill through being activities director with Friendship Games and helping others who are currently running to be on the executive board.
I think that's something that I would want to do is definitely have a sit-down conversation with the individuals involved and pull up 3 major things: their platform for when they ran, the job description, and sit down with their ideas. Going through a similar process like this with PRPA, I recognize that creativity is definitely a point of weakness for me, and I needed to tap on another individual to really help step up. And I acknowledge that it's not my place to be the end-all be-all of what the end result is, but I did recognize that I do, as someone that needs to, whose name is going to be at this end product is going to be held accountable for what's going on, that I had to set parameters. So just being able to pull up those 3 documents, go through what their vision is of that position, and then being able to evaluatively look at where they're at right now and where they could be going if we follow exactly what we talked about. So that.
More questions from our advisors. This one's for Nate. Kasamahan has not had a male-identified president/ED in this role for almost 10 years. How do you see the dynamic impacting this position?
As with this role, I'm not afraid to step up and be that person of change. I believe those before me and utilizing those people before me, I have prepared myself for this position, and I want to be the one that does inspire you, all you males who, like she said, there hasn't been a male figure in this position for over 10 years. Don't be afraid to take on that role, right? One thing I really learned this year was that a lot of the things I regretted was because I was scared, because of that fear. But through this community, I didn't let that fear stop me. So don't be afraid to step up to the challenge. And this challenge is definitely something that I believe I can take on together, collectively. yeah, I'm just ready for the challenge.
And then for Tiana, conversely, following a line of female identified leaders, what would you like to continue to bring into this role?
I think that having so many great female leaders before me, I have a really great example of what I should strive to be, and I have a really great just platform of look at what all of these great women have done and look at what they weren't able to accomplish in their time as or past president, now executive director, and me being able to fulfill those duties and then add on top of my own for my own vision. And I almost kind of want to push back against that question a little bit and just kind of take gender out of this, like whether I am a male or I am a female, that should not be a factor into how people vote, what I would do for this organization, because if I stood before you here as a guy, I would still want the same things. I would still want to make the same change and push the organization forward. So I think me happening to be a female, that I want to follow in the footsteps of my predecessors and set up success and be a great role model for my successors.
So we only have 2 minutes left, so if you guys can just finish one beginning for this answer, but where do you see the potential of this in the future of this organization going?
You say this as in?
So, like, where do you see this organization going, basically, moving forward?
So for me, because we have been such a powerhouse these past couple of years, we've definitely seen our organization uplift, and we've advertised ourselves as that. Working with PRPA, we've definitely plugged Gasamahan as a resource, and so I see us being a resource not only for our other Philam communities out here in the Bay Area, but other just multicultural communities. Like I said in my speech, I definitely want us to be a point where people can turn to Gasamahan and be like, that organization will stand in unity and solidarity with me. That organization is a resource. That organization is an organization I can look to really build on what I want my organization to be like. So I see us being a role model, a powerhouse, if you will, for what we should be and what we will be.
Like I said in my speech, I take pride in the fact that this organization is able to touch on every aspect of student life, right? Take media team, for example. She has exceeded her roles. She has set a new standard, right? PRPA, you guys have set a new standard for educating our members. In every aspect of our organization, we are continuing to grow, continuing to set standards. And that's what we're about, growth and development. And that's where I want to see, that is my vision for this organization, to set a standard for not only ourselves, but for other universities. If you think about it, if you listen to other people's stories from other schools, like alone our PCN, ACPA is a testament to that. Our PCN was the best because we expect nothing less of ourselves. And so for my vision is to continue to keep that growing, right? Not just be, we're more than, like I said, we're more than just a cultural organization. And a place where I see growth is the pre-professional. Like I said, I want to be able to utilize our alumni because they have been in our shoes. They're out there now in the world, throughout the world, doing jobs, right? And we're about to be there. So why not tap into that resource to help all of you be the best version of yourselves?
So we're actually going to extend it to 5 more minutes for one last question from Nikki.
It's not going to take that long to answer, but to really end this night, it was my job and the job of past presidents to uphold the mission statement of this organization, and constantly, like week after week, month after month, all you hear from presidents, even time before me, is always alluding back to our mission statement. Our mission statement is far more than just promoting unity and solidarity, but in its entirety, what does the mission statement mean to you?
The mission statement means to me is finding a space where you not only feel comfortable, but it's a space of growth for not just your pre-professional life, not just your cultural identity or your knowledge, but is like a place for growth of yourself and of like your soul, you know? We are, as individuals in this space right now, giving speeches to try and run for an organization that matters for us, because we don't just see the end result of what we can give to this organization, but we see the reciprocity in that relationship about how we can grow ourselves in our soul. And one thing I want to bring up is the theme from last year, which is Utang Nala'ob. And this organization is definitely one that I feel like the mission statement has not only just reappropriated the Utang Nala'ob of wanting to have a debt to an organization, but having a debt to your inner self to push yourself to grow. And that's what this organization provides, and that is what that mission statement means to me.
What I think the mission statement means to me is it provides us with a sense of direction, a sense of purpose for us individually and for us as an organization. And it's cliche, but our school always tells us to change the world from here. And our mission statement serves as a platform to do so. Realizing your fullest potential, realizing all your talents and everything you have to offer to yourselves and your greater community. Realizing how can you, like Matthew said, have the greatest impact. And our mission statement is the direction in which guides us to do so. And Nikki, you always bring it up. Our mission statement is this, our mission statement is that. And I think it's of utmost importance that we, as an executive board and executive director, help everyone see that in themselves, because it's there. Everyone who's been in the leadership role can tell you, like, I didn't know I had this leadership in me, right? And that serves as a testament to our mission statement. Yeah.
Thank you.